Order the full city council meeting for April 20th, 2021. It's being on Zoom still and being recorded. With that, the clerk will call the roll and record attendance.
Anderson Burgos.
Here.
Bartley. Graney.
Here.
Hernandez.
Here.
Leahy.
I'm here, present.
O'Brien Martinez.
Here.
Lisi.
Here.
McGee.
Here.
McGivern.
Here.
Murphy.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Tallman.
Here.
Bacon.
Here.
Turn it over to Councilor Anderson Burgos.
Thank you, President McGee. Please bear with me. I'm trying to find the words, but it is with a very extremely heavy heart, in a very sad moment, for not just me, obviously, for a lot of people in the community, for the great loss of Mary Burks. I'm still numb. And just a brief history, Mary knew me at my bad moments, my low moments, if you will. And she was a constant force behind me, pushing me along, showing me my strengths and my worth, those things that I didn't think I even had. And it was like an arrow to my heart when I heard the news, and I just want to tell her friends and family out there that I'm with you. I feel that pain, the loss, and that we love you dearly. And in her honor and with respect, I would love to honor her with a moment of silence, please.
Absolutely. I was going to mention that a little later, but I thank you for bringing that up. Very, very sad news. I think it's shocking to everyone. Just, didn't see it coming. So with that, to their family, our hearts go out to them. We are truly sorry for your loss. I ask for a moment of silence for Ms. Burks. And thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to the first item on the agenda is public comment. So Jeffrey, is there anyone here for public comment?
They can raise their hands by hitting the participants and finding the reaction, or if they're on a phone, they can hit *9 to raise their hand.
Okay, so I'm over in the attendee side. I see 12 people, but I don't have any hands up as of yet. Once again, if you're looking for public comment, please raise your hand. We'll call you. If not, as Jeffrey pointed out, if you're on a phone, please speak up. I see no hands raised and heard nobody, so we'll go back to item 1 from myself, a letter reappointing Francis Wilson, 1421 Northampton Street, to serve as the Historical Commission. 3-year term, which will expire April 16th. Said term will expire April 16th, and that should be 2021, but a different date. Send that to public service.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next is from Councilor Councilor Bacon.
Thank you. Just a point of order. At the last meeting, you had announced some appointments also.
Yep.
And those will just need to come to the council because of the acting mayor status. So I don't.
Those are as a late file. How they
Okay.
were missed on the agenda. And good point, Councilor Bacon. They were missed somehow why they weren't posted. So I grabbed them. I went into the new acting mayor's office and got them, and we have them. for tonight.
Oh, okay. Sorry to jump the gun.
No worries. It's a good point. So thank you. 2 is from the city clerk and from Jeffrey. It's the April 6th, 2021 minutes.
Make a motion to receive, and we all got a copy.
Second.
Motion is to receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
President, make
3
a motion
is,
to suspend the rules and take 2, 4, and 5. I'm sorry, 3, 4, and 5 as the package and refer them to Committee on Finance.
Second.
Second.
I motion to suspend rules, take 3, 4, and 5 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 3 is the general fund sewer fund enterprise budget through March 31st, 2021. The other ones from the auditor about grant fund balances, and also from the auditor is the pilot taxes. All to finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 6 is from Aaron Vega, Director of OPED, a letter about the cannabis industry impact statement. Receive. some
Motion to
ordinance.
receive, send to ordinance.
Receive and refer to ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? 7 is from Alicia Zoller with regards to the CDBG program,
Make a motion to receive and send to finance.
or DGNR. I thought.
DGNR. It's in
DGNR.
Right, so receive, refer to
Second.
DGNR.
Just motion to receive. That's all we need. We don't have to send it to
That's right.
committee because we already have it.
There we have
All
it.
right, so motion is receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 8, 9 would be minutes. Want to take them up as a package?
So
Yeah,
moved.
make,
So move.
All right,
Yeah.
so 8, 9 is package. All those in favor? All
Aye.
those opposed? 8 is the Park and Recreation minutes for January 28th, 2021. And 9 is the Whiting Street Reservoir Study Committee for April 6th, 2021. Motion would be to receive them.
Motion received.
So moved.
All those in favor? All
Aye.
opposed? 10 is a communication from Patty Devine regarding the DPW appointment. Motion be received to public service.
Public service.
Service, yep.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All opposed? 11 is a notice for a outreach meeting for May 4th, 2021 for Rising Holding Hoyok. Or Rise
Motion to
Holding Hoyok.
receive.
Motion is to receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Petitions. 12 is a petition for renewal of a secondhand license at 375 Whiting Ave.
Motion to receive and approve the renewal pending all municipal fees and taxes paid.
Let me just check
Second.
that. Everything is current. So motion is receive and grant the renewal. Any comments or questions? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 13 is a petition for an application for modification of existing special permit at 380 Dwight Street.
Ordinance.
That would go to ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 14 is a petition for a renewal of a secondhand license at 324 Appleton Street.
Receive, send to ordinance.
It's a renewal.
Renewal.
If, with all fees paid, we usually approve.
Sorry.
They are current, so motion would be receive and grant the renewal.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 15 is a petition from Kinridge Healthcare, a special permit for the behavioral health hospital at
DGR,
45 North
please.
Road.
Yeah.
That's the DGNR. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 16 is a petition for a new junk dealer license at 2 Harrison Ave.
Receive, send to finance.
Finance.
To finance, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? President's report, I'll be quick, because last time was forever. One, I was trying to send you pictures of the updated chamber. We have the new flooring / rug going in. So they've done a great job. Once it's finalized, I'll give everyone the heads up on that, and then we'll, see when Sean will let us in the building so you can come take a look at the chamber. But remember, it's the chamber as well as the back room where Jeffrey is. We had it all done over. They ripped out the floor, put in a whole new subfloor, and then they're putting the rug in on Friday. Speaking of Friday, we all went down and visited with Congressman Neal and Mayor Murphy. He brought us some money, a small sum of $74 million. It was a great event. Thank you, Councilor Mayor Murphy, for getting us in there and meeting the congressman. I was a little upset, not gonna lie. I wanted the big check that we could all hold. No, just kidding. $74 million, as Councilor Murphy and others point out, it's a game changer for the city. 32 million on the city side and 42 million on the school side. A huge thank you to the congressman and all his efforts for what he's done for Holyoke. And that is just it's a phenomenal piece of news for the city. So that's stuff that we have to work on. And within that, the congressman did point out, don't forget, they're working on the transportation bill as well. And if that passes the $2 trillion, that's another set of money coming in. So we have to be able to, go back and forth between these new found monies coming into the city and figure out how we want to make sure it helps us to make the city run more effectively. Vaccines, Sean sent out an email. I'm not sure if everyone got it. Tomorrow between 10 and 2, there are 100 shots available. So call the senior center, 322-5625. Once again, 322-5625. If you want to get vaccinated, there's 100 shots available tomorrow. Call, schedule an appointment.
That number has gone down after we sent that out. He had a pretty good response. There's still vaccines available, but it's about in the 50s, I think now. So.
All right, so we got a 50-50 chance to get but they're out there. We're trying to get the information as quick as possible. So if there's shots available and you want it, please call in. Finally, I was asked to just discuss what happened with regards to a subcommittee meeting. What I can say is, we have rules that ask everyone to be cordial to each other and respectful with regards to how we do debate in the council chamber. So I just ask that if there, I get it. It's an election cycle. Things get heated, and that's understandable. But I ask that when it comes to us, I know we're on Zoom, we're not in the chamber per se. Please just respect each other, debate the issues and move forward. If there is a potential of a conflict of any way, shape, or form, that is up for that counselor to deal with whether or not they have a conflict. Go to state ethics, go to campaign finance, whatever organization you have to go to make sure that you're voting accordingly. So all I'm asking is that please, we're not the police of each other. That's other areas within the state, within Massachusetts, that do that for us. So I just ask that we all work together, work to get things out of committee so we all can vote on it accordingly and have good discussion on these things. Because that's what our constituents want. And I just ask that we all work together in that fashion. Councilor Vacan.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I do hear your words and I do heed your words. And I think that general sentiment, I'm in total agreement with. However, I agree with the points that you made, but there's a further point to be made. Also, in the context of that meeting, a majority of the committee called for a duly elected counselor to leave the meeting. And that also was out of order. And for the chair of a committee to say that they would no further in the meeting recognize a duly elected city councilor, I believe was also out of order. So I do echo your sentiment. I did not enter the fray, but as a member of the committee, I urged that of all the sitting members. Thank you.
Councilor Lisi.
Thank you. I do appreciate the comments that you're making this evening, Mr. President. I do look forward to discussing campaign issues on the campaign trail, but I do want to highlight the fact that the offense was that we're bringing campaign issues. There was a counselor that was bringing campaign issues into the regular business of a city council subcommittee meeting. And so that is out of order. That is against our rules. And it was for that reason that we felt that we wouldn't recognize the disruption. So I think that the message is loud and clear. We want to work with each other in a cordial way, but I do hope we keep the politics and campaigning out of the arena in which we conduct the people's business. Thank you.
Councilor Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening. I just wanted to add that it was quite embarrassing. A lot of my constituents called me afterwards to express their, a bit discontent with the behavior of one of our honorable city councilors that's supposed to lead by example. And the decorum piece, thank you so much for sharing that today in this meeting. And I think that it should be applied consistently and all across, because since I became a city councilor, I've seen how it's not consistent, and some councilors are called out on obeying decorum, but not others. So meaning that it was like a veteran councilor, he should know better. And
hold on. We're not going to be singling
Mr.
people out here.
Okay, Mr. President, thank you. That's all that I have to say. Thank you.
Councilor Graney, I'm going to stop it there.
Mr. President.
Yeah, hold on, Councilor Graney.
Yes, I think that we should stop beating each other up and get to the agenda.
So, yeah, we're all done. And once again, all I'm saying, there is no pointing fingers here. There's nothing. It is, let's work together. I know there was a question on whether or not we could deliberate or discuss in a certain fashion. I refer you to Rule 33 that we adopted as a council together as to how those things will be dealt with. And that is up to that counselor to deal with that issue if it does occur. As far as censoring or telling other counselors they cannot speak, you cannot do that either. As I have done as president, I will say something's out of order and ask for us to get back on track and get into quorum. But I can't stop anyone from speaking. That is nowhere in our rules. Exactly. And I just ask that people, please, I know things get, some of these issues are really personal to us and we get passionate about it. I get it. But let's work together to then go forward. Councilor Anderson Burgos.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify something, because the accusation that it seemed that was made was that all the counselors that were present in that committee had asked the other counselor to leave. That is not true. I did not say any such words. I did not say that at all. I just want to clarify that. That's all. I'm not trying to make this. I want to move forward into the agenda. I just want to clarify. I never asked anyone to leave. That is it. And I'm trying to bring peace.
Yep, I understand. Things may have been said that weren't meant. So we learned from everything. Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, I thought you were going to mention, Mr. President, our gathering in front of City Hall.
Oh, for the flag raising.
Yeah, I thought, and then
thank you for reminding me.
That, and then I want you to mention that I screwed up my camera, because I would have had a great picture of Miles hoisting the flag. That thing ought to be in the first level canal right now, but I still have the stupid camera. I wish, if I had any nerve, I would have thrown the canal and left it there, but I did not. But because it would have been a great photo of little Miles, who's not little anymore, and so that worked out real well. But why don't you tell him what happened, and that's that. Okay.
Yep. So we attended, Councilor Bartley and I, along with the acting mayor, that would be Miles Murphy McGee, because everyone was asking about the photo with him raising his hand. I said, who really got sworn in? I said, well, I brought him down just in case there was questions. But Councilor Bartley and I attended the flag raising for the Sikh flag raising. It was due to the restrictions that are in place. There was a small gathering compared to what it was. I think a year ago, there was like 30, maybe 40 people there. So we went down there. I needed assistance to help raise the flag because I was messing it up. So Miles Murphy McGee stepped in and helped out, and Counselor Bartley was trying to take pictures and basically just kept telling me, get out of the way, Todd. But then something happened with his phone. So it was a great an event. Thank you, Counselor Bartley, for being there, as well as for us doing these things, because the public, Tony from Dino's was so excited. Couldn't be happier to have that event down there. So that was that one. Thank you for reminding me, Counselor. I kind of try and get them all. Counselor Murphy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Just real quick, along the lines of what you were saying, I just want to make sure Holyoke Health Center is looking to have a mobile vaccine van, which I expect is going to be activated probably within the next week or two, and going to be an 8-week process where they'll give vaccines and then come back to the site 4 weeks later. And they are looking for sites to do it that would be able, they're going to have a mobile van, plus they're going to have a tent that will host 30 people to after they get their shots until they're ready to be cleared. So that's something, hopefully we're going to have more vaccines and our percentage is going to go up. And then we're looking at possibly doing a Saturday or an evening vaccine so that people who are working during the week and can't get out for the vaccine might have some options as well. So that's another thing we're trying to do. And Sean's working on trying to get some of those options in way. So a lot of options, a lot of opportunities. And, I really want to encourage the city to share your information. If you had the vaccine and you've done well, share that information so people know that in 99.999% of the cases, you're going to have mild reactions, and you're going to be protected much more than you are without the vaccine. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. Counselor Sullivan. You're on mute.
Still takes me a minute to find the buttons. I'm sorry. Just a day or so after the Sikh flag raising, 4 members of the Sikh community were killed in the massacre in Indianapolis, and I would just ask that we could have a moment of silence for those members.
Absolutely, I did not know that. Thank you, Counselor. Ask for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Thank you, Counselor Sullivan, for telling us or letting us know that.
And I'd like to thank, I think it was our janitor at the city hall that lowered the flag to half-mast for them also.
Yeah, Nilka was there with Counselor Bartley and I in the janitor to help get the event going and then making sure that came down.
But Todd, the key was Miles, though. He was unbelievable, that kid. So you ought to be proud of him.
Thank you very much. And yes, he's not as little as we remember. He's getting big.
He ain't little anymore.
All right, so we'll move on to reports of committee. First is Ordinance 17A. The Committee on Ordinance was referred in order for a special permit application for Mass Technology LLC to build, operate a marijuana cultivation processing at 6 Appleton Street. Recommended that it be adopted with the following conditions: that a bike track be added, the generator get approval from the fire department, that another fueling service be used if possible, that the applicant obtain site control of the area slated for parking. So motion be receive, adopt. Under discussion, Councilor Lisi.
Thank you. Receive and adopt. This is a special permit for a cultivation and processing establishment, so a manufacturing establishment at 6 Appleton. The application was pretty straightforward and very complete. There were a few amendments that we wanted to add, which are listed in the order, including the bike rack. They were putting in an additional generator outside that was supposed to be fueled with diesel fuel. And the committee just wanted them to, number one, get approval from the fire department to have that generator outside. And if possible, seek a different fueling source just because of the high asthma rates in the downtown in particular, but Holyoke wide. And so there were a number of overlapping easements that had to sort of take place before the applicant would be able to actually do the work to complete the project. And so the fourth condition here is just that they obtain complete site control for the area slated for the parking. It seemed to be the only one outstanding at that time. Again, I think that we're doing really well with moving forward on the manufacturing end of the supply chain for cannabis, and these are living wage jobs with benefits. And at the full build out of this project, this company seeks to hire about 25 people per shift. So this is a really great opportunity for the city. I think that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee members may have.
Any Councilor Bartley?
Yeah, I don't see on here our standard conditions, and I'm just wondering why they wouldn't be on this one as they've been on every other applicant.
I think it was an oversight because we just started doing them so often, and we had a big gap. So the other conditions, I would say you could offer them as amendments here.
There's six, if I may, there's 6 standard conditions that we generally add, Mr. President. And I would be, going on memory, and that's never a good thing. But I think we've always had the same conditions, whether it's been Holyoke residents for positions, for security positions. There's been kind of I know it's 6, so that's
I could look them up.
So if we could consider amending, just make when the chair finds it, I'll make the appropriate motion to add them if the body so deems. But we've had them for universal at this point, so I would hope we'd continue that. Thank you.
Councilor McGivern.
Just a question through the chair, to the chair. The 6 standard conditions, is the petitioner aware of them? Is he made aware of them during the public hearing?
No, although the petitioners are present on the call from what I can see. And so we should just make sure that they understand them. And yeah, I found them. If I should read them in now, but Councilor McGivern, do you want to complete your thought there?
No, if the petitioner is here and the amendments are read into the record and the petitioner understands and agrees with them, I'm fine.
So I can see from the panelist list, Denise Teese was part of this project. I believe that Keong Zhang was part of this application, and I can't see anybody else who was part of this.
Councilor McGee, could we maybe make a motion to have to go back to a committee?
I mean, we can motion to add the 6, amended to add the 6 standard language, which I was going to ask about the hours operation and add
well,
it.
the point
Or you could go
to Councilor McGivern's part, it might not be fair to the petitioners. They don't have a chance to either negotiate or say this is something they could do or can't do.
Yeah, it's the will of the group as to what you want to do.
I'll second it.
President?
All right, so Councilor Leahy, just go back to, is your motion to send back to committee or?
Yes, and just for the mere reason that you have people that are coming in to do business with the city, and now we're going to add rules at the last minute, which are fine rules. I'm going to vote for them, but nonetheless, I think they should have the opportunity to discuss. So yes, I'll make the motion, send back to committee.
That was, I heard
Second.
Councilor Graney second. First back to Councilor Lisi.
Thank you. The 2 points that I'll make here are, again, the applicants are on the call. And so I think that they would be able to say whether or not they understand the additional 6 conditions. Definitely an oversight, and I apologize. We just had a little lull, and I've gotten out of the habit of putting those 6 conditions on because there were additional conditions that we had to place. And additionally, I don't think that we would want to delay the applicants, given that they are on the call and could hear and understand the 6 additional conditions that have been universal up until this point. And so I think creating the delay in permitting by sending it back to committee is just not a business-friendly practice that we want to initiate here.
Councilor Hernandez.
Yes, Mr. President, I just wanted to make you aware, I'm not sure, I know that there's a lot of people, but there is a hand raised from one of the applicants from this order that we're discussing. I'm not sure if you had seen that.
Yeah, the issue there, Counselor, is we can't recognize it right now. That was at committee level, and it's not an open debate now. It's for us to figure out how we want to do the process. So that was at not public comment time, but during the committee. So for us as to procedure, how we want to go forward, it's either we can amend to add the 6, or in essence, we have a motion that was seconded to send it back to committee. Is there any other question?
Can we get a vote?
Yeah, we're going to do that now. I just want to make sure. Councilor Anderson Burgos.
I was wondering, under the suspension of the rules, if it's okay if we can ask the applicants if they're okay with this process. That way, I mean, time is of essence, and it's going to hold up, I'm pretty sure, business on their end. So just to see if we can, I'm assuming that all the applicants are here, and if we could just ask them if they're okay with this process, we can probably just move on forward, read them for the record, and make those amendments and proceed under the suspension of rules, if that's allowed.
I mean, we can suspend the rules to ask legal counsel or anything else, but I don't think we ever, I think we know there's one time during my history in the chamber, we suspend the rules, but that was for an outside legal attorney. To me, I haven't seen it before, so I'm not sure that process off the top of my head, Councilor Anderson Burgos. I know we've done it for legal, but let me see what Councilor Vacan has to say, and then we can always ask Crystal. Councilor Vacan.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out that we will have the same process issue for 17B.
Yep.
Thanks.
So first,
I'll just say that the public hearing process is closed, and we've already sent this out. So, I mean, it would be no different than making any other amendment. And again, the applicants are here on the call, and so I think that they can speak directly to whether they object to any of the conditions.
Crystal, are you there? I see your name there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Just a quick question. Motion be suspend the rules, allow ask the other question.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Crystal, just looking to see if we can suspend the rules to ask the petitioner with regards to the amendment here and the adding of provisions.
I would just ask, is this part of the record from the committee meeting? I mean, we've generally gone through every condition at the committee meeting, and I don't recall each one of them, but I know we walked through them. So if it's just an oversight, I don't know that it matters right now. It's merely a typo.
No, we never went through these 6 in committee.
Okay. I mean, public hearings are generally just, to prevent having the whole city council go sit through them. They go through committee. I don't see any reason why you couldn't ask them a question. I believe we've done that in the past as a follow-up. When the whole council has a question, I don't see any reason why we can't ask them a simple question. They're not really giving any testimony.
All right, just want to make sure that was on the record. So if there is a motion is to ask the petitioner a question on the conditions?
They won't know the conditions until I read in the 6 conditions.
All right, but we should first open it up so they can then hear it and then we can get the answer. So is there a motion to that?
To allow them to speak?
After we read the conditions.
Yeah.
I'll second that. Mr. President, there was a motion on the floor to send it back to committee and seconded.
Yeah, and I was asking with regards to what came before, was asking a procedural question is, could we ask the petitioner to do it when adding the conditions, as Councilor Bartley asked us, amending and asking the conditions? So we're trying to get both sides here.
Okay.
So that actually did come first. So with that, motion was and it was seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so with that, Councilor Lisi, can you read the conditions?
Sure. These are the 6 universal conditions that have been on every permit thus far. So that the number 1 is that the owner of the building always pay commercial property tax rate to the extent allowed by federal, state, and local laws for the duration of the special permit. Number 2, that the business retain a minimum 30% Holyoke residents for non-security jobs. 3, that hiring preference be given to security personnel that are retired police, Holyoke police, or that are retired members of another police department that now lives in the city of Holyoke. Number 4, there shall be no marijuana consumption allowed on site. Number 5, there shall be no deliveries of retail or medical marijuana from the site to individual homes, residences, or people. And 6, that hours of operation be 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday.
All right, so those are the conditions. Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, I just so we're on the record, Mr. I want to make a motion to amend the special permit to add our standard 6 conditions, please.
Second.
So motion is to add the 6 that were just read by Councilor Lisi to 17A. So it'll be at the end of 4, adding those 6, so a total of 10 conditions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? To the petitioner that's online, do you understand these conditions? And I see your hand raised. Go ahead. Can you hear me? Are you on mute?
Is it Denise that you want to call on?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only hand that was up that I could see, unless I'm missing it.
Mr. President, I believe they have to be led into the panel to speak.
Oh, okay.
He's been
Jeffrey,
given
are they
permission
in?
to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there it
I
is.
can hear you now.
Denise? Denise, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Did you hear the conditions that were read into the amendment?
Yes,
And do you have any questions on those? Any issues with those?
no issues. We agree to all of those.
Okay, thank you. So as amended, adding those 6 conditions, there is a motion to send it back to committee. Do we want to do that?
I guess I'll withdraw it because the petitioner is okay with it. I just don't think that we should be doing subcommittee work in full meetings. And I also think that we should also not be putting a person that's coming into the city of Holyoke to do business. This person maybe wanted to come back with something else, or maybe the person wanted to talk to their attorney. I don't think putting a person on the spot like that is business friendly. And as everybody knows, I've always been business friendly. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Mr. President. Councilor Graney.
I'll withdraw my second, and I agree wholeheartedly with what Councilor Leahy has said.
Understand it, mistake or not mistake, but it was missed. And if this is what the petitioner is looking for, because they have a time frame issue, we're just trying to accommodate, and I understand both sides and agree with both sides. So here, 17A has been amended to add the 6 standard as read into the record, and that was approved. So now it's back to motion is to receive, adopt, pass the first reading, I do believe, or no, this isn't an ordinance. This is actually just to receive and adopt.
Yeah. Motion
Any
to receive
questions?
and adopt.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended.
All right.
Nope. No thanks to Counselor Bartley for that. No, nobody
We
says.
said, we
Thank
said
you.
thank you. We said
Thank you,
thanks.
Counselor Bartley.
Thanks, Council Barley. Good catch, David.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
You're on the
So-
right
All right.
So with
All right.
that, the clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for 17A with the amendments, the Bartley amendments. We gotta think, how's that? How's that?
We already got that one covered. That's old
Anderson,
school.
Burgos,
Yes to the Bartley amendment.
Oh, boy.
Bartley,
Yes.
Brainy,
To the amendment, yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes. Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Tallman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Sorry, unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve the special permit.
Mr. President?
Yeah, Counselor Sullivan.
Yeah, before we go on, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider our action on number 14.
Let me go back. Give me 1 second. $14 was to grant the renewal for 324 Appleton Street. Is that the one?
Yes.
Okay. Motion is to
I'll second
reconsider. So that was seconded. All those in favor?
All right.
All those opposed?
Okay.
Counselor
I'm
Sullivan.
aye.
Counselor
So
Sullivan.
I don't want to interfere in any way with something going on, but I'm being told that this address was the subject of a federal raid last week. And I think we should leave it tabled till we find out a little more about that.
Okay. Oh,
So-
hold on 1 second. Counselor Anderson Burgos, then Counselor Murphy. We'll go, nope, nothing there. Counselor Murphy.
Yeah, I should have recognized the number and we had it in committee, but I think Counselor Sullivan is correct. And I'm not absolutely certain, but I'm pretty certain he is correct. And that was a major issue. And I know the goal is to remove the license for sure, but there's other things going on that are far beyond that. So just to make sure that this is that address, I would say we table it. I'm pretty sure it is, but if it's not, then we can correct it at the next meeting.
Motion to table.
All right, so motion is to table 14. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And let me get back to 17B. Committee on Ordinances.
Mr. President,
Yep.
I'm sorry. I don't know if we actually took the final vote for 17A, or was it just the amendment, or did we vote
No.
on it as amended?
As amended. That's what
Okay.
the call was.
Just want to make
as
sure we got
amended.
that in there in the end.
No, it's as amended.
Mr. President?
Counselor,
Mr. President?
Yep.
I was under the impression that vote was just for the amendment.
No, as I read it, I said 17A as amended.
Well, I would like to rescind my vote. I
Okay,
vote no on that.
okay, we can tell the clerk. On 17A. Okay. Anyone further? On 17B, the Committee on Ordinance to refer to special permit for EMB establishment at 140 Middle Water Street, have considered the same, recommended that the following conditions: that the property owner gain site control on all the easements of the property rights needed to construct the project, that all the outstanding issues from the city engineer letter dated from April 12th be complied with. And I'm sure we're gonna add these 6 amendments in a
Yeah, so
minute,
moved.
but
Second.
but with that, are those the first 2 conditions? Are those correct before we move on to the
Yes.
other one? Okay.
Yeah.
Now to Counselor Bartley, which is Counselor Bartley would like to add the standard 6.
Do you need me
Counselor
to read
Lisi,
them again?
Yeah, just so it's on the record and
Mhm.
we do it correctly.
That's fine. So the 6 additional conditions are that the owner of the building always pay commercial property tax rate to the extent allowed by federal, state, and local laws for the duration of the special permit. That the business retain a minimum of 30% Holyoke residents for non-security jobs. The hiring preferences be given to security personnel that are retired Holyoke police or are a retired member of another police department that now lives in the city of Holyoke.
Rebecca Lisi really stepped up.
I hear some.
There's some background noise. Can we have that muted?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there shall be no marijuana consumption on site. There shall be no deliveries of retail or medical marijuana from the site to individual homes, residences, or people. And number 6, that the hours of operation be 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday.
All right, so with regards to adding those 6, there was a second to it. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? So that amended 17B to add those 6 standard conditions. Back to Councilor Lisi for the report.
Thank you. I do want to just to sort of replicate the procedure that we just went through previously. The applicants here are David and Eddie Fernandez. Jeff Dannenberg, I think, has his hand up representing this group.
What was the name? Jeff what?
Dannenberg.
Oh, Dannenberg.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and allow Mr. Dannenberg to address us on this one particular point.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Jeff, can you hear us? Is he in?
I can hear you very well. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. We had a special permit issued to us for this very site on March 5, 2019 by the City Council. And the first 5 of the 6 conditions were part of that special permit. The 6th had been proposed, but at our request, it was left off because we do need to have a bit of a skeleton staff available during the night hours after 8 p.m. Because of the nature of the growing. If the so we're not only are we not opposed to the conditions, the first 5, but we had agreed to them the first time around in 2019. The only reason that the application is coming up now is to update the special permit because the project has changed from a renovation of the building to a rebuild of the building. And we would request that the 6th condition regarding the hours not be included. However, if the council insists that it should be, we'll abide by it and we'll accept it.
Councilor President, this is exactly what I was referring to earlier.
Yes.
I understand, Councilor Leahy. So with that.
So I would like to offer an amendment to strike the 6th and last amendment that would restrict the hours of operation. It is a manufacturing operation, and so it wouldn't be public facing in any way.
Second.
So motion is to remove the hours of operation, which were read as 8 to 8 Monday to Saturday, 8 to 5 on Sunday. And second, Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, I hear you, and I believe I voted for that the first time around, but I'm going to oppose this particular motion only because it's my experience that these things can evolve over time, and if the petitioner has look, he came up in 2019 and it stalled, and here we are in 2021. So the petitioner has the right to come back to amend the special permit based upon some kind of evidence, not just because. Now, every other applicant has the exact same thing. So I would say respectfully to the petitioner, please accept this. Don't force us to make a controversial vote now. And if you want to come back, which you're welcome to do, to amend this based upon your particular needs, I'm sure you're going to find a welcome audience. Otherwise, I'm going to vote no. So on that, but I mean, we're gracious enough with our conditions now, Mr. President. I think that we're pretty flexible, but pretty standard. And now we have to do a carve out because, well, it's burdens on the petitioner to come back to us with showing something substantial as to why why the hours don't apply to everybody else, but they don't apply to this particular petitioner. So I just think there's a reasonability standard here that's being missed. And if the petitioner would withdraw that request, I for one would appreciate it, but otherwise I'm going to vote no. Thank you.
Councillor Lisi.
I'd like to continue with the committee report to give some context as to why the applicant is back before us. I do, for the record, want to note that there are at least 2 businesses that are manufacturing only, cultivation, manufacturing alone, so no public facing, part of the business that have the full 24-hour manufacturing ability. I believe the True Leave applicant also has 24-hour operation, so it wouldn't be a first. And in their case, it wouldn't even be a first for this particular applicant that we waived that last condition.
Anyone further? So the motion, Councilor Murphy.
Yeah, and I appreciate all the comments on both sides here. And first of all, I want to thank the applicant because they thought they had a building that could be renovated. They found out it was a building that could not be renovated. And they still decided to make an investment in Holyoke and actually build a brand new building. So I definitely want to try to make sure we do this. The 2 other things, one, I believe we are considering, and I'm not sure what will happen, but I believe we are considering an ordinance committee amending, at least for cultivation, to allow 24/7 because of the very issue that they're talking about and the reason we waived it in the last time. And the third thing is, this is, and I've talked to Mr. Fernandez a couple of times, and he knows I'm very strong in favor of this in terms of his next investment, which I think is something better for Holyoke long-term, and that is to have basically an indoor fruit and vegetable growing facility, which I think obviously could deal with the food issues, it could deal with the job issues, it could also deal with opportunities for people that are job-wise, for people that are used to doing that kind of thing. So there's a lot of pros here. I can go either way here, and I tend to doubt that Mr. Fernandez they're not gonna be doing this, opening this probably for another year or so. And with Councilor Bartley, I think if we asked them to come back at that point and look to amend it, it may already be amended in our statutes at that point that we are going to allow the 24/7 for cultivation. So again, I can go either way. It doesn't matter. I'm going to vote for it because I think this is a good businessman who's come back, made his initial investment and found out the building wasn't quite what they thought it was, and now is going to put a brand new building right on the river down in Ward 2. And I just think that's where, again, whichever way works best for the council is fine with me. And Mr. Fernandez, we're trying to work with you, so just understand that. Thank you.
Councilor McGivern.
I'd just like to speak in favor of striking the amendment. The hours don't apply for any reason to have set hours on this particular parcel. This parcel, as Councilor Mayor Murphy did just point out, is not near any residential homes. It is closer to the river, off of Cabbage Street. The presentation was incredibly professional. The reasons were given why they revisited the special permit. There are ones that have been highlighted both by Councilor Murphy and Councilor Lisi. And it makes no sense to put hours of operation on the manufacturer in a manufacturing zone that this city created to be 24/7. The city of Holyoke gained its notoriety by having 3 shifts in every one of these buildings, employing thousands of people. Are we saying we want to limit hours? That means less employees, less jobs opportunities, less opportunity for employees to make more money. It makes no sense to limit the hours. Let's get rid of the 6th Amendment for this special permit. And I hope the Committee on Ordinance quickly comes to an agreement that we should get rid of hours of operation for manufacturing.
Counselor Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just note that regardless of whether we state the condition or not, the current ordinance limits hours. And so where we're allowing 24 hours, we're not in compliance with our ordinance. But I would also note that there is an item on the agenda that came out of committee. I think we will be discussing that further on this agenda. Thank you.
Counselor Leahy.
Yeah, thank you. So through the chair, I'm in agreement 100% with Councilor McGivern. The city has been an industrial city, you know, people working around the clock for, you know, since the beginning. I'm just against doing all the committee work in committee, and we're, you know, it seems like we're all pretty much in favor of this. However, maybe it was something controversial, and now we're, you know, putting it on the shoulders of the petitioner or their attorney. I just don't think that's the right way to conduct business. But I will vote for this, or vote for striking item number 6. Thank you.
No one further. Motion was to remove item 6 was the hours of operation. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
The ayes would have it. So it's back to the 2 conditions and then the 5 that were read into the record, not the hours of operation. Is there any more discussion on this?
I'll just briefly, you know, add that to the points that Councilor Acting Mayor Murphy made just before. You know, this was a project that was before us in 2019. They had a really lovely renovation plan that was going to replace all of the windows with windows that look very similar to the old-fashioned sort of windows there. But as they started to do the work on the building, the brickwork just started crumbling, and they learned too quickly that the building was too far gone to actually renovate. And so it's becoming a bit of a rebuild, and they're doing a lot. Even the facades couldn't be preserved, and we are saddened to hear this. But this is what happens after, you know, years of being vacant. But we are happy to hear that they are in the process of doing the rebuild, going to be using a brick face so that it still preserves the architectural sort of history and authenticity of the city overall. So it'll blend in really nicely with, you know, the other buildings in the area. And that's something that I think is unique and distinguishes Holyoke. So I was glad to see that sort of thought put into the project as a rebuild.
Councilor McGee, can we move to the next item?
Yep. So here we are at 17B still with the 5 conditions being added. If there's no further discussion, the clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for 17B as amended.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Graney,
No.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Tallman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
12 yeas, 1 nay.
With your vote, you approved 17B with conditions. You want to take up C, D, and E as a package?
Please suspend the necessary rules, take up C, D, and E as a package. They're all amendments to our traffic ordinances.
So motion is to go in as a package, C, D, and E. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? C is a handicap sign be placed at 251 Walnut. D is the removal of the one at 32 Clinton Ave. 17E is a handicap sign in front of 6 Highland Ave.
Receive, adopt, pass the first reading.
Motion is receive,
Sorry.
adopt, pass the first reading under discussion.
No, they're just handicap placards that have all been approved by the Commission on Disabilities. And so we're putting them in where we need to and removing where they're no longer needed.
Anyone further? Seeing none. Motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Motion is to pass the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
And motion that the passage be ordained?
Motion that the passage be ordained. The clerk will call a roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for all three, putting two in and taking one out.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBrun Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Tallman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
But you vote, you approve those three. 17F, the Committee on Ordinance was referred in order to.
Mr. President, if you don't mind, I'd like to take up 17F through K as a package and lay them all on the table.
Second.
Are you done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going back up for an hour and then I'll be back down, okay?
All right, so F to K, if I heard you correctly.
Yeah, and if I can, under discussion, explain, we in the ordinance committee did give these motions to each of these individual orders, but without the final legal form. Each of these individual orders are sort of without context. And so next time we meet in committee, we'll be looking and reviewing the final legal form, and we would be able to have the final language alongside of these individual orders so that counselors have a bit more context to understand what's going on. I think it's just an easier way to understand what we're working on, what we did, what we were considering.
All right, so motion is to suspend the rules, take up F through K as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Quickly, abbreviated reading. F is for the medical marijuana deliveries. G is for the buffer reduced from 500 to 200. Ordinance 17H is consider revising the special permit requirements for use. 17 I is for allowing cultivation manufacturing to operate 24 hours. J is a special permit for downtown residential zoning. That was leave to withdraw. And K is, it looks like the council amend the ordinances regarding deliveries. So those are all to be laid on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Let me catch up to 17L. Committee on Ordinance to refer in order that the handicap sign be removed from 50 Walnut Street. Have considered the same and recommended that the order be given leave to withdraw without prejudice.
Receive and adopt.
Motion is to receive and adopt under discussion.
I think there was a bit of confusion about the address and how it wound up on the agenda. It seems to be a mistake of some sort. And so we're just giving it leave to withdraw without prejudice. If the homeowner continues to need the sign, we can refile it.
Okay. Any discussion on this? Seeing none. Motion is to give leave to withdraw without prejudice. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 17M.
Be received and adopt the committee report.
All right, so Committee on Ordinance was referred to a zone change application from R1A to BL, 83 Lower Westfield Road. This is not enough parking, so it's being recommended to deny. Am I reading this right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure. So under discussion, Counselor Lisi.
I think so. This applicant was before us for a second time seeking another zone change. And it just seems that the zone change that this applicant is looking for is really out of harmony with the rest of the activity happening in that area. There were some neighbors who spoke out about it. And overall, it's a spot zone change. And so the planning board recommended against it. And then the committee members also echoed that sentiment, that it's just a poor fit for the area at this point in time.
Anyone further?
I could, Mr. President.
Counselor McGivern.
You making a motion to deny without prejudice?
I'll second that.
So the motion is to amend it to read, recommend that the order be denied without prejudice. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
You got Counselor Bacon ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was writing. Counselor Bacon, sorry.
Thank you. I just wanted to note that this was the first time that somebody was coming in to take a residential property and try to turn it into limited business in a residential neighborhood. And for that reason, I am in opposition to the denial without prejudice. Thank you.
Okay. Counselor McGivern, your hand's still up.
If I could just explain the reasons I asked for it to be without prejudice. This is a part, I voting against the zone change for obvious reasons, but this is a parcel that is residential sandwiched between two commercial zones. So I think the residential, and I understand the residential community up there very well. We've dealt with this conflicting, land use for years, since Whiting Farms Road was built, and a number of different farms were turned into either residential, although most of the farmland was turned into commercial before the residential zones applied. But the conflict is similar to the conflict we have throughout the city. The reason I asked for it to be without prejudice is at some time we may have a proposal that makes sense for all the property up there or groups of property up there. And I'd just like to leave the options open for the city and leave the options open for the landowners.
All right, so currently the amendment is to add without prejudice at the end. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Show of hands. If you're voting for the amendment, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So
Todd,
that
I
would
am.
pass. And that's 8. Counselor Leahy would be 8. So that amendment passes back to the original, which is to give recommended that be denied without prejudice. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That's denied.
Mr. President,
I think we need a roll call.
we
for
need a
that
roll
now.
call and the
Yeah.
reasons for denial.
Special, yeah. So this, I agree, because I was just reading it again. So the clerk will call the roll, but the reasons for denial, Counselor Lisi from the committee, just so it's on the record.
That it's out of harmony with the neighborhood.
So spot zoning was one, not within the alignment of the neighborhood. Counselor Bacon, sorry.
Thank you. The main reason that was cited by planning and in committee was that it was the expansion of a spot zone. The BL zone in the residential neighborhood is a spot zone. So it's not in between directly to industrial uses. It was a spot zone being expanded into the residential further. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Counselor. With that, the clerk will call the roll. This is to deny. So if you're voting yes, you're voting yes to deny without prejudice based on the reasoning.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Rainey,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Tolman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you're approved, you voted to deny without prejudice. 18A, which is finance. Committee on Finance was referred an order petition for a secondhand license for FYE number 725 at 50 Hoyle. And it's just waiting disposition. So it says approved 4-0. So motion be receive and adopt. Under discussion, Counselor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Finance met with the the regional director of the FYE store at the Holyoke Mall, known as number 725, address being 50 Holyoke Street. Mr. President, this in part is a renewal. However, it was appropriately put in front of the City Council as a new secondhand license because it's a franchise and it was a change of owner of the franchise itself. In any license, whether it be a liquor license or a secondhand license, when the owner manager changes, that has to be vetted out in a public meeting. The regional director was fully aware of the regulations and rules that come with a secondhand license. They do keep a log and use identification by a mass license or other picture ID of anyone who's coming in to sell an item or to buy an item that is secondhand. In this case, the only items that they're interested in are used DVDs or used CDs. They sell them very cheaply. She said there's not the market there once was for them. But if the police come in at any time to look for something that could have been stolen, they keep good records.
Okay.
Recommend to adopt.
See no one further. Recommendation is that it is to adopt and grant the secondhand license. Clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the secondhand license.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Tolman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve the secondhand license. 18B, Committee on Finance, the City Council hereby accept the provisions of the FY 2020 Emergency Management Performance Grant of $15,500. There's no match. And establish the funds for it. Recommend, looks like it passed, so motion would be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Under discussion, Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee met with both the Fire Chief, Jeff Pulaski, and Jeffrey Trask, who was our strategic emergency director for the city of Holyoke. This is a grant that we've seen before. It's almost an annual grant where this one comes through MEMA, which is just the state, cousin or sister for FEMA. The money allotted this year is being proposed to be used to buy 2 units, 2 trailers that have generators and light towers on them. They would both be used during disasters and used during emergency situations. Mr. Trask gave us a lot to think about in terms of the need for both of these trailers. And he was quizzed by the committee on making sure that he worked with the chief that because this money has to be spent by June 30th to make sure that the grant is in good condition by June 30th, so our outside auditors don't pick up on it. He agreed to do that, and Chief Peskopowski said he would work on the grant himself for that purpose. Motion is to adopt.
Anyone further? So motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Motion would be to pass the second reading. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for 18B.
Anderson Burgos,
Remember to unmute.
Bartley,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Now, yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Tolman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
12 yeas.
With your vote, you approve the grant. 18C, Committee on Finance, hereby accept the provisions of the fiscal year 2021 District Local Assistance Grant, $22,500 with assistance only, 5% in-kind grant. Recommended that it be adopted. Motion be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Under discussion, Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee had our new Planning Director, Economic Development Director, Aaron Vega, in with us. This 5% grant is already a given and written off for the staff that's assigned to this technical assistant process itself. The agreement is with the Pioneer Valley Planning Authority. 2 people will be assigned to the city of Holyoke to work with our staff and to do this permitting and licensing process and gathering of data that will give us some good background and some good future references for when we're applying for other grants and doing other economic development projects. The committee, after meeting with their the committee after meeting with Aaron Vega, recommend that the grant be accepted and adopted. Motion would be to pass the first reading.
Councilor Murphy.
Yeah, I just want to indicate, I want to invite all the councilors, if you are available Friday, I'm having a meeting with business leaders in the City Hall ballroom at 1:30 on Friday. What this grant is trying to do is I already had some businesses contact me, which is going to be related to what this grant is trying to do. Make the process smoother, make the process quicker, make the process easier to understand so that businesses can come in and feel like we are doing all that we can. And I know a number of the department heads are coming to make sure they hear it. But I think this is a great grant. And this is probably something we could have had 10 years ago.
All right. So with that, motion is passed the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion to pass the second reading. The clerk will call roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the grant.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Rainey,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Tallman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
For your vote, you approve the grant. 18D, Committee on Finance has referred. Local Rapid Recovery Planning, 90,000 assistance grant. Voted to approve, so motion be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Under discussion, Councilor McGivern.
President, the Finance Committee again met with Aaron Vega, who will be the manager of his department of this said grant. The $90,000, again, as you stated, no match. We'll bring in a consulting firm from upper state New York known as Lomax. This is a business survey in the Main Street, High Street sector, downtown, what we call both our downtown areas. The grant is good for the collection of data and for the pre-planning and for the purpose of, again, looking for other grants in the areas of planning, in the areas of doing better and more economic development and more business projects itself. I know part of this is complement some of what Mayor Murphy has been doing in the South Holyoke area, and I know Aaron Vega spoke highly of the consultants that are coming in, and is looking forward to working with them and sharing all the information with us. The committee recommends that we accept the grant and adopt it to pass the first reading.
Seeing no one else, motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading.
Motion is passed the second reading. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the grant on 18D.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Rainey,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Tallman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
For your vote, you approve the grant. 18E, Committee on Finance was referred that the City Council approve the CPA recommendation of $10,000 for the JFK Memorial Restoration. That was adopted. Motion is to receive, adopt, pass first reading. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, the petition for this to the CPA committee was a co-petition that made up of the Holyoke St. Patrick's Parade Committee slash past Grand Marshals, along with the City of Holyoke Parks and Rec. I'm at the committee level abstained, and I didn't have a chance to check. I'm not too sure if my conflict is as deep as I think it is. There's no question that the JFK Memorial is owned by the city. There's no question of a longstanding partnership and a longstanding connection with the parade committee, not just with the city and the JFK Memorial, but also with the Kennedy family itself. However, because I didn't have a chance to call down to Boston, I'm going to abstain. And I know there's a couple other members of the St. Patrick's Committee on the City Council. It's not asking anyone else to abstain. I'm just stating because I'm not sure. I think both our Vice Chair, Councilor Tallman, and of course Mike Sullivan are available to present this one and go through the details.
Councilor Sullivan?
Yeah, basically what it is, this came out of the committee 6-1 in favor of this. There's some cracks going on, some joints that need replacing. If we don't do this, it's like some of the other things we've discussed. If we don't do this maintenance now, it's in danger, trip hazards to the public, but also in just deteriorating and becoming useless, really. So it's a good project, and that's about it.
Councilor Leahy. Hold on, Councilor Leahy.
Yes, yeah, thank you. I too, I didn't get a chance to call, so just signing on the side of error, I'm going to abstain from this. However, being on the side, the reason I'm abstaining is I'm the co-marketing director of the Holyoke St. Patrick's Parade and the road race, which everybody knows generates $21 million into the local economy. Fortunately, it didn't happen last year, it didn't happen this year, but I am going to abstain. Thank you.
Councilor Tallman.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. As Councilor Sullivan stated, it's got passed through the committee 6-1, and it's just basically shoring up the steps and the facade of this beautiful memorial. And if we don't take care of it, it starts to fall apart with the weather and the rain. So it's a great use of the CPA funds for this monument that is used not just St. Patrick's Day, but other veterans events during the year. Thank you.
Councilor Graney. Yeah, Councilor Graney.
Yeah, just quickly, Mr. President, I'm in full support of this. But just as an aside, approximately a week and a half ago, I was driving up Suffolk Street, and there were two youngsters skateboarding on the JFK Memorial on the steps. So I don't know if we could take some steps to put a fence around it or to do something, or signage or something. No skateboarding allowed on the monument. Thank you.
Okay. So with that, seeing no other hands, motion is to, because it's a transfer, so we'll just do it the same way we always do. Motion is pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Mr. President.
Yep. Go
I
ahead,
think we've been doing them just as adoption.
Just as adopt. Okay. Yeah. All right. Motion is to adopt. Clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the recommendation of the CPA to give $10,000 towards JFK Memorial restoration.
Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Rainey.
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Leahy.
I abstain.
Abstain.
LeBron Martinez.
Yes.
Lisi.
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
McGivern.
Yeah, abstain.
Abstain. McGivern. Abstain.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Tallman.
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
11 yeas, 2 abstain.
With your vote, you adopted it. Councilor McGivern, you want to take up F, G, and H as a package?
Yes, Mr. President. I think it'll make it a little quicker.
Okay. So I just knew that one had the side vote there. That's why I took it up. Sorry. So motion is take up F, G, H, and I as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? F is that the CPA recommend $130,677 to fire engine 9 restoration. G is $210,000 to Mayor Field improvements. H is $40,000 to Pulaski Park engineering study. And then the last one, 18I, is $60,000 to the War Memorial facade restoration. Motion is that they all be adopted. Under discussion, Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. And the fire restoration, we had Chief Preskopowski in and Tom Shea in to discuss this, and it was a very interesting discussion. Again, CPA had recommended to use the funds in this matter. And essentially, this is, and I have no idea what I did with my notes, so I'm going by memory. This is an apparatus that was once used by the fire department as a fire apparatus that is no longer. It has currently been used both in the St. Patrick's Day parade, when Sparky goes out, and whenever possible, big truck things when they do things down at Heritage Park, and items of that nature. But the restoration will take this 1935 vehicle and put it into prim and proper 100% shape. It will actually hold value, unlike when we have an apparatus or a car, we take it off the car lot and they depreciate in value immediately. This will hold value, and this is something that the city will have for decades to come, for not just the purposes that it's being used now, but for many more. So the committee agrees with the CPA that this is a good project. And the reason we only vote to adopt these is we're not appropriating the money. The money was appropriated through the CPA funds and the money that came in from the state and was already sent to the CPA committee for them to do their due diligence. We're just agreeing or disagreeing with their project recommendations.
And so we have them all, Councilor McGivern?
Oh, sorry. That was a good motion made by yourself. Mayor Field improvements, $210,000. Fantastic project. Every city councilor at the meeting, at the finance committee meeting, agreed to this. There's just not an underused, and probably an overused Parks and Recreation field. We see young children playing baseball at the Diamond. There's playground scape there for moms and dads, grandparents to bring their children to play. It's a passive park with some benches. It's a little bit of everything, located right off of Westfield Road, and centrally located. Anytime you drive by it, you see people in there. This money would be spent through the Parks and Recreation Department and DPW to restore the field and bring it up to modern day shape. We all agreed that this is a great use. The Pulaski Park is for an engineering study necessary. We heard, the Pulaski Park itself was designed by a famous architect. And if anybody that's familiar, I think we're all familiar with Pulaski Park, but anybody listening, is the landscape in Pulaski Park and the wall that stops the park at the point of the where you'll be going down the hill towards the railroad tracks and the river, is something that has incredible views within the city of Holyoke. It's a park that is also used for a number of different uses, passive recreation with a lot of benches, a lot of walking, jogging, things of that nature. I believe the Italian societies still have their games set up, bocce and things of that nature. I know even Mata Della Rosa uses it with the student body for some playground use and for some passive use in terms of recreation for children during their hours out of the classroom. We think the engineering study is necessary because if we don't, it's going to be expensive, but if we don't find out, how we can shore up this wall, it's going to start falling down into the railroad tracks. And we like to do it not just, one, for public safety, but also two, to protect the design and the historic nature of it. So the CPA recommended the $40,000. The Finance Committee agrees with the recommendation. And the War Memorial facade, $60,000. This is another well-used proposal of CPA funds. These monies would be used to not just restore the facade, but restore it to good condition and also protect it. It's a beautiful building. It's a memorial within itself, not just a memorial building, but the building itself is a memorial to our veterans. We know it's in the hands of the veterans themselves. The War Memorial Commission is made up of veterans, and we know that the city works very close with them on all the wonderful events that take place. The building does need some work, and this money will be put towards that. I think
Counselor,
that's
that's it.
Mr. President.
Yeah. Counselor Leahy.
Sorry, I had my hand raised earlier. I'll take it down.
Oh, okay. Counselor Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was able to attend this meeting, and I just want to speak briefly on 18G for the Mayor Field. I've been contacted last year because the field abuts Ward 5 and Ward 3, although it's existing in 3, by neighbors that were concerned about safety relative to a single pole gate there that young children can run right under, with the park being located right on the street. So I'm very happy, and I want to thank Acting Mayor Murphy for advocating also with the Park Department and DPW, so that as a part of this project, that safety matter will also be addressed. So it's a real win-win. Thank you.
Counselor Murphy.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Bacon. And I did meet with Terry Shepard the next day, went over it, and she agreed that is something they should do. I then have had email conversations with Bob Parent, who's gone up and said he agrees that we got to do something to make it safer. We're going to try to fit it into the 210, but if not, if it's a little bit more, we're going to find a way to get it, because obviously if it's a few $1,000s and we're saving a kid, then we're going to do that. So, and I know Councilor Bacon and Councilor Bartley both brought up the safety issue with that. And again, my goal is not only improving it, but make sure we make it as safe as possible.
Counselor Bartley.
Yeah, thank you. I'm pretty confident these are all going to be unanimous, but I just want to get some context on a few of these, and I support them all. Relative to, and I appreciate the chair's summary, because the chair always does a good job with us. So I don't think I'm going to overlap with what I have to say. The fire truck, that's under the historic preservation category, and that's just something to keep in mind. So when taxpayers are curious about that, it is a lot of money, but it's in a particular category for CPA funds. So that's important to recognize. I forgot Mr. Shea's rank. I don't know if I can't remember if it's a captain or not, but let's just leave it at Mr. Shea. His input was invaluable to us. And he did say the turnaround for this is going to be about a year. So it's got to be shipped out to somewhere in Pennsylvania, but his bottom line is it's going to add value, and it's going to be I think something that the city council and the CPA committee should get a lot of credit for. Relative to Mayor Field, the Ward 5 council is absolutely correct, but I did have a chance to speak with the park superintendent, who said that yes, the fence, the swinging gate will be addressed, and so the amount of improvements in there, Mr. President, is something John Tuig, the park superintendent, and I, and a consultant, we met there in 2013, 2014 on a couple things, and I said that night in committee that, everybody's saying, well, there's nothing to do in Holyoke. Well, you know what? Parks improvements are imperative. And so there's going to be something to do for all the new families, especially coming in Elmwood Heights and then across the street and Vermont, at the Vermonts and the Connecticut's and the Rhode Island Aves and all the rest of that. So that's going to be an important asset for that area of the community. Relative to Pulaski Park, as I said that night, Mr. President, in for a penny, in for a pound. I did confirm with the park superintendent there was a Pulaski Park engineering study. Can you imagine? In the 1990s. So nothing fell into the ground at that point. Nothing fell into the Connecticut River at that point. Study was done. Nothing else was done after that. So studies on the shelf. here we got another study, but I know we got a really hands-on acting mayor. I know we got some fine candidates for mayor coming up that are aware of this study. And we're hopeful that once the study comes to fruition, they can find the revenue to fix this important asset of Ward 1. And the last one, Mr. President, and this is a promise I made to Nello Rhoda, who's since passed away, unfortunately, but this is an icon of Holyoke, a decorated veteran of World War II, who said to me, Bartley, this is in 2012 or 2013 after I got elected, and the first time, and he said, Bartley, can we do something about this, the limestone at the War Memorial? And we filed orders, and to Bill Fuquay's credit, he made the attempt. But it's not easy. And now, to even greater credit to the CPA committee and the acting mayor, et cetera, and the taxpayers of Holyoke, it looks like a $60,000 check is going to be paid to clean up the building. And I did confirm lastly, Mr. President, that night that this has been green lighted by the War Memorial Commission, who, as you're aware, actually calls the shots for the War Memorial. So they're on board. And consequently, I am on board. Thank you.
Seeing no one further, motion is to adopt F, G, H, I. Clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for all of them.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Franny,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez, Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Holloman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
12 yeas.
With your vote, you approve those. 18J, Committee on Finance, a request from pay senior planner $5,000 overtime. Recommended that it was adopted. Motion be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Our discussion, Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. Aaron Vega again with us, asking for this transfer for the purpose of paying some clerical per diem staff members overtime when appropriate. Overtime being there's a tremendous amount of additional work going with the cannabis projects that are before the city. There are the planning board and other boards that are meeting on a regular basis where it's demanding that these positions of his department are spending time after normal work hours. Councilor Bartley asked him about keeping track of the hours and payroll. What payroll as a manager, what payroll implementations of we'd like to see everybody get into Munis. We'll make it much easier and everybody could see it. And Aaron told us that he does log and they do keep track of all hours, not just the clerical people, but the salary people and everybody. And he also keeps track of regular hours and as a department head, which I think is important. I hope all our department heads take that as an example. And then someday we'll have the Munis software in place where it'll be much easier to do or much more efficient to do. The committee recommends that the transfer take place. His pay senior planner, the position was vacant for part of the year. That's why there's a surplus.
Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, thank you. I think the finance chair summarized it. I'm just going to emphasize it. Every other job, any job I've ever been in, Mr. President, including my own job where I'm self-employed, it comes with tracking hours. But under the former mayor, there was no tracking of hours. Laughed at when I brought that up. So I'm very confident that the new OPED director is going to track hours and is going to run those by the city auditor. I've had a conversation with her about this, and since we have the acting mayor here, the acting mayor ultimately would sign off on, and future mayors obviously sign off on it. It's just a question of internal controls, Mr. President. If we're going to cut checks for overtime, at least do us a courtesy of proving that you had the overtime and sign off on it. Why that was a big deal with a former mayor, I'll never know. but it wasn't done. But now it looks like it's going to move forward. Consequently, I'm in support of it. Thank you.
Anyone further? Seeing none, motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Motion is to pass the second reading. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer of $5,000.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Greeny,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Tallman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve the transfer. Next is 18K. Community on Finance with a transfer of $16,455.94 from $15,000 from longevity, $500 from EAP med officer, and $955.94 from in-service to Safer Grant for the total of $16,455.94. Recommended that it be adopted. So receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Under discussion, Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. When I first read this, I thought I was reading something that was either a typo or incorrect. But I was very pleased to learn that this is the result of a campaign the city council has for the past 2 years been hearing from our outside auditor and from the Department of Revenue, DLS, that we have a number of grants that were in deficit for different reasons. Not all the worst, but certainly things that could be corrected. Some that were very old. This grant is a fiscal 2018. Jeff Preskopowski, our fire chief, and Dale, our one of the business managers at the fire department, found a munis problem where the hours being calculated through the Safer grant were being calculated at 84 hours instead of 63 hours. And munis was doing a formula that just created a $16,000, $455.94 deficit, or applied to the wrong grant, taken out of the wrong grant, money that shouldn't have been. The only way to correct it is by putting money back into it. The fire chief looked into his budget, found surpluses in each of these line items, explained those to us, to the finance committee, and we agreed to that the transfer is both prudent of the chief and the business manager of the fire department, and commended them on their hard work of listening to our auditor, who created the system and has been working closely with department heads. It was nice to see the fruits of labor. When we first hired Tanya Doljek to become a permanent auditor, we know we went through a period of time where we relied upon interim appointed auditors, and some things just fell to the wayside. The grants deficits were part of that problem. And I don't know if everybody remembers, but when we brought in Tanya, I said there's a new sheriff in town. Well, this shows that the sheriff earned her badge, and she did a fine job. I commend both Tanya and Chief Preskopowski and Dale for bringing this to our attention, and we agree with the transfer.
Seeing no one, motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Motion is passed the second reading. Clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer on the Safer grant.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Greeny,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Tallman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve the transfer. 18L, Committee on Finance, who was referred $35,804.30 from cruiser lease to capital outlay motor vehicles. Recommend to return to the auditor. Counselor McGivern.
Mr. President, we received a communication via email from the Holyoke Police Department that they're withdrawing their request for this transfer in their thoughts that this might be a quick way to, we've already approved some bonding for detective cars. And we proved that to be cheaper than going through the lease to buy program itself. They're withdrawing their request. We used the motion to return to auditors that there's no questions of the accounting purposes of money that's been requested to transfer. And we ask that the full city council do that this evening.
So the motion is to return to the auditor. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 18M. The Committee on Finance will refer in order to invite in the auditor to discuss, update the council on the rules associated with the ARP Act. Auditors to also provide council with an update as they become available. Refer to finance. I don't have anything with this.
Mr. President, we met last Thursday evening because Monday being a holiday, it was difficult to get an open evening with all of our colleagues in different committees that were meeting last week. And we did have a discussion with the auditor. My recollection is this remained in committee. Our discussion was, and you heard your report this evening, everybody that met with Congressman Neal and Mayor Murphy on the money that's coming in from the federal government. But the American Recovery dollars themselves, the purpose of this order is to make sure that the city council and others are part of the process. The CARES Act and the emergency COVID monies were treated like block grant monies where the city council had no say over how those dollars were spent. Right now, we're not 100% sure, but all signs are indicating that these dollars will have to be appropriated and the city council will have a part to play in the appropriation of these dollars. We kept it in committee to obviously to get more information before we report out on it.
Okay. So,
again, Mr.
Councilor Murphy.
Yeah, just giving a little update on, obviously, I had some conversations with Congressman Neal the other day. So I expect that we're going to find out a lot more in the next 5 to 10 days. They were still trying to iron out all the rules, trying to make it as give the local government as much leeway as possible to do some things. There is going to be a procedure. As I understood it, the initial is going to be similar to community development. I will only tell you that while I am there, my intention is to both get input and try to give serious consideration to the input that's been received. But again, as of last Friday, that's where he thought it was going, but that is not guaranteed. But his goal was to provide as much flexibility to the community, and that it would somewhat require community input and council. And again, I will work with the council just as I will work with the school committee in my tenure here. So,
Councilor McGivern.
I appreciate what Councilor Murphy is saying. I understand that. The reason my remarks were about the city council having something to say about it is parts of these dollars, it's pretty clear, are going to be used to supplement monies that were lost within the city budget itself. If we're supplementing city budget appropriations in any ways, that needs city council approval, in my humble opinion. And I thank Mayor Murphy for saying he will work with us. But there are areas where I think we're going to be should be required to take votes on these dollars. Thank you.
So this is to refer to finance, Councilor McGivern? That's the best.
I spoke because it's on the agenda. My recollection, I have to refer to the other members, is that we just kept it in committee.
So it's still in committee? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Because Thursday night, we couldn't meet the agenda because the agenda was already set Thursday morning.
Okay.
That's why it's on pending disposition.
All right, so it's just still in committee, and we'll get an update when it meets on that. Okay, that takes care of finance. Public Safety Committee, none. Public Service Committee, none. DGR Committee, 21A. Committee on DGNR, whom was referred that the Community Development fiscal year 21 CDBG proposal summary, having considered the same and adopted as amended. Counselor Bartley.
Yeah, Mr. President, let's take suspend and take 21B together because they're kind of they're overlapping orders really.
Okay, so suspend the rules, take up 21A and B as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Counselor 21B says Committee on Finance or Committee on DGNR, who was referred, that the fiscal year 2021 spreadsheet Community Block Grant Development have recommended as amended and adopted, and that the resolution be adopted. So under discussion,
Motion to
Counselor Bartley.
receive and adopt the committee report to approve the spreadsheet and to adopt the resolution as proposed.
Second.
Motion is receive and adopt as proposed. Under discussion.
Yeah, great meeting the other night. First off, want to thank Alicia for coming to the meeting and walking us through as she always does. It's invaluable. Also want to make sure we thank the Citizens Advisory Committee, Ms. Kruckmeyer, Mr. Bowler, Mr. Lopez, Ms. Gentile. Oh, I can't read my notes who the fifth member is, but you know who you are. It might be Mr. Ramirez, but if anybody can read my hieroglyphics, I'll give him $1 right now. I can't do it. But thank you to those five people whose input really is critical to I think each member of the DGR committee. I think I can speak for them all. And then second of all, Mr. President, this was the 8 times I've done this. This was by far the most efficient and the best meeting we've had. It was still 2.5 hours, but we put everything through the paces. But having the acting mayor present to know we've got. We got our back covered. It was very helpful. That being said, I hope everybody had a chance to review the spreadsheet. I don't know if there's I did have some follow-up questions from certain advocates who were not funded particularly in this time. I did get back to at least some of them today, and to say that there are that per Alicia in the meeting, there looks like there's going to be some other avenues to fund them, and whether it's COVID monies or perhaps the other funds that we were just referring. So there's no debate. Every year, Mr. President, we go through this, and virtually everyone is a really important step for the city of Holyoke. I'll just point out a couple. The demolition funds, that was fully funded. Neighborhood improvement program, that was fully funded for the first time. They said it's like $10,000 per house. So this time, and that's what the average is. We fully funded at $250,000. The waiting list, I think it was somewhere around 115 houses, but I'll stand corrected if somebody wants to correct me on that one. Wisteria Hearst, two great things in Ingleside Park, and then having that couple that came in. Remember in finance back in January, and we got to get them back in to talk more about the handball leagues and handball Hall of Fame, which they're involved. But we fully funded a handball court. Sidewalks this year were by far the most improved. I did speak with the DPW superintendent. He was very enthusiastic. He said, with $161,000, they can actually get some things done, put it back into the infrastructure of the city, which some of us have been advocating for that for years and years, but never happened. But at least this year there's going to be significant funds, and Mike was really enthused about that. Small business grant program and a facade improvement program. This is a nod to our new OPED director who felt like this would be a useful tool. And you heard the acting mayor mention that they're going to meet Friday at 1:30, and I'm sure the acting mayor will raise the $25,000 at that meeting on Friday at 1:30. In non-public services, Mr. President, it's essentially a no-win situation. We did our very, very best to to satisfy everything we could, or at least give some funds to certain agencies. I think all of us are pretty proud of continuing funding Loretta House and Margaret's Pantry, fully funding Women's Shelter, doing the best we could with the homeless services. We had some new. We funded some new agencies too, and we always encourage new agencies to apply. So it was a great meeting. I got to thank the committee, as I always do, for their input, and all those who attended. Their input is absolutely critical to making this go efficient. On the resolution, Mr. President, the resolution, it says that same thing every year. It's just that the numbers change. It's the whereas gives a total sum of the money. And again, we want to thank Mr. Neal as well for coming through with CDBG, because it looks like the ship kind of steadied this year. And so the Holyoke Chicopee Westfield Consortium seems to do well with home funds. And so we certainly want to take a roll call. We will have to take a roll call on the resolution. So on both these orders, Mr. President, if you will. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone? Councilor Murphy.
If I can, first of all, I want to thank the chairman for seeking a lot of my input and I was, I would encourage whoever becomes the new mayor, I would strongly suggest this is to sit in on these things and hear the comments and build a camaraderie of what our goals are. If it's at all possible, obviously, I was able to do that, and it pays dividends. And the other thing I want to say, and I then met with Alicia for a couple of hours, I think Friday, and we went through it. And so I just want you to know, I'm trying to honor as much as I can from the Office of Community Development, the Citizen Advisory Council, and the Redevelopment DGR Committee. And I'm going to be very close in doing that almost universally. But I want to let you know, there's a few things that I'm going to be able to change because they haven't been expended. And if need be, and they need it, we can do reprogramming. But by doing that, we have a potential to do some of the sanitary sewer work, where we would do some of the work in the fall, and then with reprogramming, actually get the sewer work lines, which is a very expensive. It's about a $7 million total process. We're just touching it, but we would start to develop some of that. It could fully fund Ingleside Park and a few other things. It could. I asked if the 161,000. There is a potential on walks that we might even be able to do more. So I'm looking at that. I just want you to know, I'm trying to make sure that what can't get done in the fall, we're not tying up money until spring. If we know we got additional funds we can do to get them in spring. So I'm trying to get the maximum bang as quickly as I can. I got a lot of information by attending the meeting. I want to thank Alicia. She went through and we went program by program and trying to find ways to make as many of these things happen as quickly and as effectively as possible. So I thank the committee for your work. I thank Alicia for her input. Obviously, I've got some choices to make in that, but I am trying to honor the work that has been done by the three offices that have dealt with it so far, and by what the council is going to do tonight. So I just wanted to let you know that. And if I change a few things, I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Seeing no one further, we have A and B before us. The clerk will call the roll to receive and adopt the resolution and the recommendations as amended. If you vote yes, you're voting for that. And I'll turn it over to the clerk.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Rainey,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Your vote, you approve those two. Off to Charter and Rules, 22A, Committee on Charter and Rules was referred in order Communication from UMass Amherst. The final investigation report for Alex Morris matter recommended that has been complied with.
Mr.
Counselor-
President, we can suspend rules and take up 22 A, B, and C as a package.
I won't argue with you. Suspend the rules, take up A, B, and C as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? B is for charter rules. Order the letter from the city solicitor regarding the procedure requirements for citizens petition, complied with. 22C, Committee on Charter Rules was referred a petition calling for the resignation of Alex Morris. The council has passed a resolution calling for resignation, recommended that it's been complied with. Under discussion, Councilor Vacant.
Thank you, Mr. President. The motion will be to receive and adopt the committee report for all three. We had a good meeting that night. Of course, this citizens petition had been filed in the fall, and there had been a number of developments since that time. But prior to that, citizen Jordan Lemieux had been appointed, if you will, as the liaison for the citizens group who filed the petition. This is a vehicle that is available to our citizens through our charter. It is not utilized too often, but from time to time, there are incidents and events that occur in the community that cause our citizens to want to have a matter publicly heard in a general meeting due to the high degree of either effect or interest. So in that regard, the citizens had filed a petition that came to the city council under this header, that we, the undersigned registered voters of Holyoke, call for the resignation of Mayor Alex B. Morris and petition the Honorable City Council to pass a resolution calling for the resignation of Mayor Alex B. Morris. We seek this based on the actions of inappropriate sexual conduct by Alex B. Morris, Mayor, City of Holyoke. He is no longer able to effectively and credibly serve as mayor. We further request the Holyoke City Council to call for a general meeting of citizens to discuss the above stated purpose pursuant to Section 8 of the Holyoke City Charter and the Massachusetts State Constitution. So at our meeting that night, Jordan Lemieux came in and he wanted to make a few points on behalf of the citizens that were relevant to the final report that we had all received an expanded copy of recently. And the main points that he brought to the attention of the committee and the council was that while the report did not find that there were matters of law that had been violated, that the findings in the report were also far from an exoneration of the conduct of the mayor. And he further noted that our former mayor had not been invited, and nor would he be teaching in any position at the university at Amherst subsequent to the actions. And the final finding of 4 in the report were that Alex Morris's pursuit of dating or sexual relationships with university students may be inconsistent with university's principle of employee conduct, which was found to be the case, which is why he was not invited back. So a couple other further points that Mr. Lemieux made were relative to one past disclosure that he is asking and the citizens are asking the council to look at now that the mayor is no longer here, whether the disclosure relative to the $45,000 payment made with public monies could now be opened is a matter that was brought forth. For my part, I made the comment that I felt that it was a courageous thing for the students who mostly were greater than a decade younger than the mayor to bring forth the concerns and the situation that they were faced with, mostly as 18-year-old students, and that really they should not be killed or discouraged, and any student in the future who is in such a position feeling uncomfortable, feeling that there are these unwanted actions taking place from a person of power, I hope would feel that they would be heard and that their concerns would be properly addressed. And so with those comments and others, I'm just simply summarizing at this point, because as we all know, the mayor did not run for re-election and he has moved on to another community. And so at this point, we put this unfortunate chapter behind us. But we note it for the record that the citizens were heard. And I thank you all for your attention on this matter.
Anyone further? Seeing none, motion is that all have been complied with. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? There was no joint committee. It's on to motions ordered. Oh.
Mr. President, I would like to take up item C out of order under a suspension of the rules. It's late file C.
Oh, okay. I was like, there's no joint committee. What? There's no C.
Yeah.
All right, hold on one second. Give me a second here. All right, late file C going out of order. Late file C is that I hereby appoint to the retirement board Brian.
No, I'm sorry. It's the one about the residency requirement. We got the legal form late, but it was voted out of committee successfully.
Hold on, I'll get to that one. C. Listed as F.
Thank you.
So this is motion is to go out of order to late file F. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? This is the one from ordinance with regards to the residency requirement. It's the legal form. This is what you were looking for, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Motion would be to
receive and adopt past the first reading.
So we're gonna take final action tonight. So motion is to take final action on this. All those in
Mr.
favor?
President?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion to table. I haven't seen the legal form at all. I don't want to vote on something I haven't read.
Second.
I was under the impression that it was circulated as a late file, and this is the removal of the residency requirement for the acting treasurer and the personnel director.
Yep. Yep. I think it was taken up last meeting, but the motion was to table and that was seconded. So no further discussion on the tabling. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Noes would have it. So
Todd,
back.
Todd, I was an aye, but I just didn't have my mute was on.
Okay.
Show of hands.
So
I mean,
say the noes still had it.
Oh, the noes have it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
So
glad
here
those
we're
have-
back.
Where can I at least read it? Where's it circulated?
I believe that it was circulated through Jenna, who is in the legal department.
I mean, respectfully to counselors that won't let me read this, I'm amazed, but that's okay. Let's move on.
President, we still need a 2/3 vote to even discuss this.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten there yet. So
Yeah.
motion is to do final action on this matter tonight. So let's try and vote on that, and that might not pass. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No.
So I don't think you have the 2/3 vote just hearing that unless you want a show of hands.
Show of hands. This is the
Show of
residency
hands.
requirement that would allow us to actually put people into these positions in City Hall.
So motion is to take final action on this tonight. Please raise your hands if you want to act on it tonight. Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 people. So that would not pass.
Rainey's a no.
So with that, we wouldn't be able to act on this tonight. just for counselors, this was taken up at the last meeting. The legal form was not there. That's why it's coming in this way. I understand the arguments. But as mentioned in my president's report, in a prior meeting, we have no personnel director. We have no, almost no legal department. We're trying to get people in. This was something that was approved by the council to do. This is just the form that was now put in place to make sure we did it, so that Councilor Murphy, Mayor Murphy, can start, trying to hire people who are applying. Councilor Murphy.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I certainly understand, because I just signed it I don't know, sometime this afternoon, so I doubt if it really got circulated all that much.
Thanks for your honesty. I appreciate that.
No, I did. I know it came in sometime after I had a budget meeting. So, but if I can, I mean, it is important that we do this and be in a position. I know, I prefer to, and I've told people already, when you bring something to me, don't expect me to sign something. I like to read what I'm signing. So, and I did, and I did like what it said, but I respect the fact that many counselors don't know. I'm very well, if this is within my power, I think it's going to be, but who knows? I'm a rookie out there, but I may, because of the urgency, I may get this out to you and maybe call a special meeting so that we can deal with it quickly and one way or the other, have a knowledge that yes, we're going to be able to do this and reach out and try to hire, and or know that it's got to stay in residence. So I think, that is one option that I think I need to consider, because I've heard several times the personnel office needs to get someone in there to be the leader. I've heard from the treasurer, I need to get somebody in that acting treasurer's position. So, again, I respect the idea that you haven't had a chance to look at it, but just be aware, if I'm empowered to do that, that's probably what I would do. And I would hope it wouldn't take long, and that we might be in a position one way or the other to know how we're going to move forward. Thank you.
So with that, are there any other motions for this? Hearing none, this would be to lay on the table.
Well, that was my motion originally. I didn't get a lot of love for that, but let's try it again. I'm going to make a motion to table.
Motion is to table. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Show of hands to table. Voting yes to table, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6.
Is the table? I vote yes to table.
And that would be 7. So the item's tabled. Back to 24. From Councilor Lisi, in an effort to document and make transparent the work that the Hoyoke Public Schools have done under receivership, the City Council invited Anthony Soto, the interim receiver, as well as any cabinet level members and representatives from DESE to go over the metrics for which students achieves and is evaluated.
Receive and send to the joint committee.
So a motion is received and sent to joint committee.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
25 is from myself. Order that the City Council issue a proclamation of appreciation to Commander Roberto Colon Jr. for his dedication to local veterans and services as commander of DAV Chapter 41 for the I think it's May 4th or May 4th through 2019 to 2021. So just want to give him a proclamation. The mayor had signed off on one or other. He wants one from us as well. So motion be receive and adopt to get a proclamation out to all those in favor.
Aye.
All those opposed. That one is approved. 26 is from Councilor McGivern. It's
Suspend the rules, Mr. President.
Yep.
To take up items 26, 27, 28, and 33 as a package and refer to the Committee on Finance.
Right, so 26, 27, 28, and 33 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. 26 is the firefighter safety equipment grant. 27 is the Mass DOT Shared Winter Streets and Space grant. 28 is the COVID-19 vaccination capacity grant. And then 33 is the overtime for patrolmen, all going to finance. All those in favor?
Just under discussion on that one, Mr. President,
Which one?
on 33.
All right, going back to 33, Counselor Bartley.
Yeah, well, we have one in committee now in finance for 200,000 for the exact same thing. So
If I could, Mr. President, I can answer that.
so what's our pleasure on that?
All right, Counselor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee is working on the overtime situation and getting information per city councilors' different requests at the meeting when we received the $200,000 and Chief Feeble was before us. Acting Mayor Murphy is working with the Hoyoke Police Department on their budget and on their overtime account more specifically. I won't speak for him, but this was I received an email that said this would be filed for this meeting and at the HPD, the chief will be withdrawing the $200,000 or asking that, be given leave to withdraw or denied or returned, and that the replacement order as worked out with the Mayor Murphy would be $100,000 in his place.
If I can, Mr.
Counselor Murphy.
Again, just, yes, and they came to me and we've talked and we're actually working on trying to get much better reporting of what happens with them and what happens with overtime, what's the benefits, why are we doing it? So I'm going to be getting some additional reports, but in this particular case, if you look at typical overtime, these are the months where because we get into the warm weather and people are out more, there tends to be more activity that we may not want in the community, actually do not want in the community, but, and they are also down to 76 patrolmen. So I've also agreed to encourage them to hire 10 new reserves and try to get that up. And then eventually from there, from the reserve force, where we have 14 reserve officers now, potentially to hire some of those in the near future to become full-time patrolmen so that we are somewhat near the 90. We are not going to be there at any time during the rest of this fiscal year. So their goal is, and they realize, and I said, we got to really watch that. This was trying to keep it as conservative as possible and still be able to react to anything that goes on in the warmer spring months that we get started. And they did show me some stats. So, I mean, it looks like it's a legitimate request.
Okay, Counselor Bartley.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. Do you want to go ahead, Joe?
Just for informational purposes, Dave, there's as of April 3rd, there's $292,000 left in the line item. There's a lot of questions about where, and Councilor Murphy points out, we know there is legit overtime demands, especially when the workforce is down. And we do have that ordinance. I don't remember if it passed to increase the cap on reserve officers up to 25. We also know that there are a lot of issues going on with who gets overtime. We're talking about operational overtime, not grant overtime. And we just have a lot of looks that are being run to be able to answer questions, not just to city councilors, but also the public at large. We have time to do this, and I commend Mayor Murphy for taking it on his very busy schedule, even before he's getting together to do next year's budget. If that $200,000 passed, it would put the line item at the average of the last 2 years in that department. But I believe we can do better and with less and still accomplish what we need to do.
Yeah,
Councilor Bartley. Yep.
Yeah. So my question to the chair. Well, also I commend Terry for taking on the role and as well as my friend Pete, you know, for running for it. He ought to be committed too. So, but really, you know, taking on the role and getting the job in and getting it's not easy. But I mean, should we just pull this out of the jacket now? And you know, this is through the chair to Terry or to Terry. I mean, should we pull that order out of the jacket right this second and just give a leave to withdraw so we don't have to think about it? Is that what you want us to do?
200,000 is not going to be approved. So the only one I want you to look at is the 100,000, which should get us to just about what we spent in the last quarter last year with a larger force. And now we got, like I said, we're down to 76. I believe it's 76 active patrolmen right now on the street.
So, well, we'll just go in orderly fashion, and I'm sure the finance chair will put it on the agenda. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. So those are all to finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
President, make a motion to suspend the rules to take 29 and 30 as a package.
29 and 30 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 29 is that hereby appropriate $5,196 from special counsel to city solicitor. And 30 is appropriate $5,957 from special counsel to city solicitor.
Make a motion to receive, and with your discretion, would it be to pass the first reading?
If you want motion to be receive, adopt, pass the first reading, if that's what you're looking to do, you could do that.
That's my motion.
My motion is to receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Under discussion, Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. President. These two orders were before the council at our last city council meeting, or the one before. The finance committee had met on this subject intensely with the issue of our acting city solicitor, Crystal Barnes, performing duties of the city solicitor from October of 2018 through this year. She continues to do so. We found out, and I don't want to recap everything unless anybody has questions or wishes me to recap it. We found out that the duties she performed did justify back pay to her at the position of city solicitor. That was backed up by an advisory opinion by our labor council. It was also noted that we took time to study the Mass General Law, to study what exactly was going on. The auditor was unaware that the eldest or senior, assistant city solicitor and the vacancy of a city solicitor took on those duties with good reason, because I've said many times the city solicitor is the only person that can sign off on legal form, the only person that can sign off on legal opinions. Many people can issue legal opinions, but until they are signed off on by a city solicitor, they don't carry the same weight that they do with the signature and the seal itself. Again, this is back pay. We are not adjusting the salary for city solicitor. We made that clear at the meeting when we voted on one item that took care of the budget for this year. This is back pay for prior years. We are not giving the individual a salary increase, but a back pay for duties that were performed legitimately by Crystal Barnes in the position of doing the city solicitor's work itself. At the meeting that we voted on this, we had originally tabled them, waiting for that legal advisory from the Labor Council. At the meeting we voted on this, I mistakenly said that they had passed the first reading 2 meetings ago, and I did that by memory, which I should know is not my best forte when it comes to certain things. The motion, and I also did it because I believe the first reading is, and I've always believed the fathers who wrote the charter, our founding fathers, wrote the language that the only time you need a 2/3 vote for an appropriation, whether it's by transfer or a budget, is when both readings are on the same evening. Meaning when you receive an item, goes to committee, I think that satisfies what the founding fathers were trying to do. Respectfully, majority of this council disagrees with that, and have always said that a first reading must be a formal motion to pass the first reading and adopt. Councilor President and Councilor Bartley pointed out that that did not take place. My mistake. I apologize for my mistake. No one objected on the night of the meeting. We went forward with the second reading, and the president announced that the orders on that night passed with, at that time, with, I believe it was 8-4, Mr. President. I'll note two things. One, if I known it was the two readings in one night, with an 8-4 vote, I would have immediately asked to reconsider and asked to table, because Mass General Law is very clear. Appropriations pass with a simple majority. That's important to understand, because we cannot supersede Mass General Law. Our charter just says that we cannot do two readings. If we do two readings in the same evening, we have to have a 2/3 vote, which I think is fair, and I think we understand that. I also want to note that 8-4 is 12. A city councilor, Gladys Lebron Martinez, was double booked that evening. She was with us in some moments. In some moments, she was doing other business, and I don't remember all of it, Gladys, but she came on Zoom right after we had taken the vote of 8-4, and the president announced that the motion carried. If I thought the motion had not carried, and actually by our own rules, any city councilor that joins the meeting is supposed to be asked how they wanted to vote on any roll call votes for that night. And Councilor LeBron Martinez was not afforded the opportunity to vote on this matter. So therefore, when the president told me that after reviewing the minutes, the video of the meeting, that the first reading did not pass, he asked if he wanted the transfers to be refiled. The acting mayor McGee filed these transfers. I'm not too sure if the acting mayor Murphy is on board with this, but that's where we are. Again, the city solicitor, because this is back pay by federal law, could get triple, and I always do this wrong, the attorneys help me out, triple net damages and lawyers' fees if she were not to get the back pay, and if she were to take the city to court. I'm not worried about that. I'm not saying that as a threat. It's the right thing to do. We all know she did the work. This is just the normal pay, what a city solicitor would have been paid for doing the work that we required a city solicitor to do. I ask that we take all that into consideration and that we adopt these transfers this evening.
Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, just I don't want to interrupt, but on a point of order, respectfully to everybody, the orders that are in front of the city council president are financial transfers. And it says at the bottom, I'm not going to read the whole, I have agenda 2930. I hereby recommend the passage of the above order at the meeting of your council to be held Tuesday, April 20th, 2021, signed by Alex Morse. I do not have financial orders in front of me signed by either the prior acting mayor or the current acting mayor. Consequently, these are out of order, Mr. President, and they should be given leave to withdraw.
And I second that.
No, I can explain it. When the orders came in, I said, I am signing them, and you can do it via the computer or you can sign them. So where this came up, I think it just showed Alex's name and I didn't catch it, but I did recommend and authorize the signature of it. You can do signatures via the computer, which is you're clicking it and it puts your name in, but Alex's name was there and I have to supersede it with my name. So this might have been a glitch with that part of it because it wasn't the one that I had to sign as a hard copy. But I authorized the approval to have this done. And really, I think what you have before you is really the old order, which I said I want the old order filed to have the same number that we voted on.
I have an order that says hereby recommend
I hear what you're saying, but I asked the acting mayor at the time, authorized it. Yep, I understand.
I don't see Todd McGee acting mayor on here anywhere.
I understand what you're saying. There's a hand raised by the city clerk. The city clerk has something. All those in favor?
I just want to point out that we're working. I just wanted to point out that we're working with Wally to fix Lotus to get Alex's name out of there. And anything that's printed out of there right now automatically comes with his signature on it. And it's an automatic thing that's in there right now. We're working to get it fixed and switch to Councilor Murphy, Mayor Murphy. That's all.
Councilor Bacon.
Thank you. Well, for all the money we're paying Wally, they should at least be able to do that. But my question is, Mr. President, have you signed the hard copy of this order because it's a new order before us tonight?
No, I signed it through the computer. Once again, there's two ways to sign it. You can sign them via the computer. They send it to you and you hit the button and you hit the date and it puts your signature in. And the hard copy can come in the other way. So there's two different ways. I didn't do it by the hard copy. I did these by the computer.
Right, except that it's not coming out.
But it's
right?
obviously it's not printing correctly. That's right. I don't have the ability to fix the computer.
Right, but you can write on the hard copy, right?
I can write it right here if that's the preference.
Well, I just think just to follow proper form and protocol, that we would have it before us as a new order would just call for that. Thank you.
Anyone further?
If I could comment on the process and the order itself, I'd like to.
Go ahead, Councilor Bacon. Yep.
Thank you. I understand the arguments that have made for that, but I want to point out to the council that in the prior years, the money that had been appropriated in the line of the city solicitor had been transferred out of the line. So that money had been transferred into other uses in the prior years. And for us to be going back in time and trying to use current money in a line for monies that had already been transferred out of the line in real time with the sitting mayor having taken no action, I really think is questionable. So I don't agree with the line of thinking. I did support the current money in the current budget, but I just don't find this to be proper. Thank you.
Councilor Murphy.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I voted for the transfer. I do, and I definitely did not agree with the process or the failure to do this in 2018 when it should have been done. But I did support the process. I want to make sure, however, that we do this without any legal questions, that we submit it without any legal questions and make sure that whatever the council decides is done properly. And I'm going to be watching that signing thing. I'll tell you that now that you brought this up, because I know they had me do something, and I like to see things and sign them. I'm old fashioned. You saw my flip phone. So, I would encourage whichever way we go. I want to make sure that we're all going to be comfortable. And I think, in fairness, if this does not pass, I would expect myself to file a request for the next meeting. Obviously, I'm not able to go and sign something to do that for tonight, but I would expect to sign it. I probably would abstain from voting to try to end up being as neutral a party as I can. I just want to make sure the process that we're doing has no legal questions, and I do have legal questions right now.
But I'm happy to say to table it until, if you want to refile it. The issue is there's obviously a computer glitch to here that we can have checked and alleviated. So just make a motion to table this until it comes in corrected.
Motion to table.
Before we make a motion to table, can I ask what
Councilor
questions?
Councilor McGivern.
Can I ask through the chair what the legal questions of Mayor Murphy are?
The signature of Mayor Morse.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
I'm just saying the Labor Council gave us the legal advisory as far as to what we're doing.
No, I understand, but I'm just with his signature and the date when it's signed, obviously, that's my question. And I think from the general public, you're saying, wait a minute, how can Mayor Moore sign something?
He didn't. I can assure you he didn't.
I know.
But Councilor Anderson Burgos.
Thank you for acknowledging me. So I've been on phone calls where I'm told I'm being recorded and you need to state yes or no, and it's legally binding, and I would say yes or no, right? So that's a legal recording. So this is public record. You're in front of us. You're saying you have approved this, which I feel that would be adequate to move this forward. It's plain and simple. You're right in front of us. You're saying yes, that you approved this when you.
I understand that, Counselor, but the signature is here on there, of which we've explained why. So instead of going down a road where there may be an issue, my answer is table it. And if we need to, Counselor Murphy said he'll refile it and sign it. Hopefully it's signed correctly. So that would be, the motion is to table. Is there a second?
That's gonna make a
second. No, I didn't hear you, Counselor Bartley.
Well, yeah, because I've heard twice now about this so-called legal opinion, and just through the chair to the mayor, I would actually get a legal opinion on this from somebody who wasn't hired by the particular person who's going to benefit by this. I would actually look for a legal opinion, and when you've got a legal opinion and a legal opinion is fine, but generally a legal opinion, this is through the chair to my friend Mayor Murphy, Acting Mayor Murphy, there's usually substantiated by a set of criteria. This legal opinion is literally based on his opinion. There is no criteria, there's no third-party criteria on which he bases this legal opinion. There's nothing. He says, in my opinion. Then he says, it is my understanding. This is a flat-out joke. There is no basis in law in this March 26th letter. To call it a legal opinion is to call whatever. Just make some nonsensical metaphor. There's nothing here. So I hope you actually get a true legal opinion. And then to Mr. President, to pose a threat that we may or may not be sued.
I object
for treble damages.
Yeah, but hold on, no one
to pose that kind of a threat is flat out outrageous and without merit.
I object.
So you might as well threaten everybody who disagrees with you.
Counselor Bartley.
Well, just because you don't like the show. I'm sorry, but you threw out the threat based on what?
Counselor Bartley.
You threw out a threat. Order, I mean, stop your nonsense. I'm throwing it back against
Order, please. Order, please. Come on now. It's almost 10 o'clock. I get it. Order, please. There's no threats. There's no nothing. That's why we'll have Counselor Murphy take a look at it. So motion for 29 and 30.
President, a hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilor McGivern.
President, first of all, I don't know who said legal opinion, because I didn't purposely this evening. We got a legal advisory from Labor Council that the city hires for labor purposes. And I respect anybody's opinion to that legal advisory, but that's exactly what it was. But I think the common sense is what's been spelled out both in the Finance Committee, at the City Council meeting on 2 levels, and to be personally attacked again, because this is not the first time this has happened. I've had it. I'm not going to take the personal attacks anymore and words be put in my mouth that didn't come out of my mouth. Okay, I took everything. These orders are filed by mayors and acting mayors, not by the chairman of the Finance Committee. And I'm just trying to get it to a point where we can all take our final vote. And I don't care how anyone votes, as long as they understand the 3 sides to this story. And there are multiple sides. But I'm not going to take personal threats anymore from Councilor Bartley.
All right. So order everyone. Motion here is to table. I did hear a second. I think it was Councilor Bacon. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Oh.
I'd say the ayes have it. 31 and 32, would we like to suspend the rules and take up together?
So moved.
All those in favor? All
Aye.
those opposed? 31 is $1,854.83 from firefighters to injured on duty. 32 is from lieutenants and patrolmen, $10,924.93 to injured on duty. For police, 3 people. For fire, 2 people. So motion would be receive, adopt, pass the first reading. Councilor McGivern.
President, this is the, just about every meeting we see this. This is the accounting move to separate salaries for safety officials, firefighters, police officers who were injured on duty. Some of these injuries may only be something that takes them off duty for a day or two, a weekend, and then they are vetted out through the company that looks at injured on duty, and in most cases, they're quickly back on duty, but this separates the accounting, so we know that even though they get their salary rightfully so, they weren't performing the services at the time that they were injured.
The motion is to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion would be to pass the second reading.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the transfer for injured on duty for both 31 and 32.
Anderson Burgos,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
Rainey,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Leahy,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
yes,
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Bacon.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With your vote, you approve those 2 transfers. 34 from Councilor Tallman that the Personnel Department work with the mayor to facilitate a professional development day for department heads. Motion be to receive, adopt, send to
The mayor and
Mayor?
the
Your personnel.
personnel department.
motion to receive, adopt, send to mayor and personnel department. All those in favor?
Can I ask a
Councilor Bacon.
my question is if it needs to go to finance, if it's going to be an additional benefit, or if it is being seen simply as an educational day that's needed due to changes in the city. Are we looking?
Councilor Tallman?
Yeah, I was just looking at it as trying to get some of the department heads together and have like an in-service day
Okay.
where we could sort of learn to find out what our goals are, what our needs are, and basically just try to get along better in city government.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
think we're trying to work with the Holyoke Community College, that they may have somebody who can help with that. And it may have to be, if we can get them all on the same day, if it's going to be during a work day or possibly on a Saturday, whatever we can do. There may be a cost involved, but if there is, then we'll have to, get the approval from the mayor and then send it to finance.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, so motion is receive, adopt, send to mayor and personnel. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 36 is from, or 35, sorry. 35 is from Councilor Tallman, Councilor McGee, that the DPW clean up the graffiti at Kennedy Park. Motion is receive, adopt, send to DPW.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Councilor Sullivan.
Yeah, with the maker's permission, I'd like to make a friendly amendment to add to that the Highland School Monument, which has now been defaced as well.
Yeah,
Second.
and
That's what it is. That is a monument there.
yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought
It's at Kennedy Park, but it's a monument, the Highland School wording. Yeah.
Okay,
The wall.
I thought that was the Kennedy Memorial. So
Yeah, no, that's yeah.
So all set with that, Councilor Sullivan?
yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So motion is receive, adopt, send to DPW. All those in favor?
aye.
All opposed? 36 is from Councilor Bacon.
Can we take
In
up
accordance-
36, 37? They're the same. Pretty much.
36 and 37 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The law, the acting mayor choose one person listed in the March 14, 2020 letter nominating 3 people for Preston Macy. And then 37, the mayor appointing the board of registrar needs to be corrected by law. Only one name from the 21 list of Miss McNeil's seat can be chosen. I can explain this to you, Counselor. When it came in, it was only 1 letter, and I chose out of that 3. We were told that there was a second letter. We never saw it, just to give you the heads up on that. So and I explained to Counselor Murphy, if you want to send both letters, then he can fix it. But when it originally came in, it was 1 letter, 3 names asking to fill the 2 positions. That's how we got it.
Okay, so Mr. President, just to clarify, when I filed my orders, I submitted the 2 letters, and I have subsequently forwarded those 2 letters to Mayor Murphy. So he has them in hand at this time, but I did submit them at the time with the orders. Just, okay. I'm sure you did not see them, but apparently what had happened is the letter from 2020 had never been acted upon by Mayor Morse. Okay. So that became a technical problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So I know Counselor Murphy has it. So with these, you just want to receive them and send them to Counselor?
Send to the mayor, please.
Okay. So receive 36 and 37 and send it to the mayor.
I just asked the question, Mr. President.
You sure, Counselor Murphy?
For some reason, I thought you had already nominated someone from the March 22nd.
No, so we did nominate someone, but we nominated 2 out of the 3 that were listed on 1 letter. There's supposed to be 2 letters.
Okay.
So what'll happen is they'll send you both letters, and you just have to redo it because it came in.
1 person from each letter.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Out of the 3 that, yeah.
Okay. And
if you have questions, you can always call Counselor Bacon.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
So 36 and 37, receive and refer to the mayor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Counts 38 is from Counselor Graney, that the Holyoke City Council invite in the medical professionals from Holyoke Medical Center or Bay State Health to discuss the pros and cons of marijuana usage as it affects and its effects on the community. Motion to send to public safety. So 38 to public safety with a copy to Holyoke Medical Center and Bay State professionals. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 39 is from Council Graney that DPW superintendent provide the city council with an inventory list of all the DPW vehicles that are currently in use and those that are not in use. Motion be received and sent to DPW. Do you want to go to a committee, Counselor?
Yeah, probably to finance. See where I'd just like to see how many vehicles we got, what's in use, what's not in use. It seems to me this is constituent triggered too, that there, that we have no clue of how many vehicles we have, and I think the council should know, and we should know how many are in service and how many are not in service, and in lieu of purchasing new vehicles, etc.
All right, so that one to finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And now to late files. Late file A is $1,000 from pay local building inspector to pay overtime to finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? B is an outreach meeting notice for cannabis. This is for May 3rd, 2021, 5:15 at the 89 South Street. This would be receive.
Receive.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? C is the appointment of Brian Smith to the retirement board. Send that to public safety or public service.
Service.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Appointment of Lori Belanger to the chief procurement office. Send that to public service. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those? The other one is E, and that is to appoint Patty Devine to DPW as a commissioner. Send that to public service. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Last one is G from Councilor Hernandez, that a handicap sign be placed at 63 Taylor Street.
Ordinance, please.
To ordinance with a copy to the commission. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? I think I got them all. If I didn't, no, I got them. I'm just kidding. I hope everyone has a great night. Motion is to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Good night, everybody. Have a good week.
Have a good night,
Have a good
everyone.
night. Have a good weekend.